The maternal mortality rate at the Comfort Teaching Hospital is back on the rise after an initial dip at the beginning of the year. Public support to the hospital in response to JoyNews special assignment documentary Next to Die was credited with the improvement. Authorities, however, say the progress was short-lived. Acting Chief Executive for the hospital, Dr. Ohinebo Owusu-Danso, told the media review meeting that though delivery at the facility dropped by 18% over last year's, mortality shot up. Love News' Kwesi Debra now reports.
Women who gave birth at the Comfort Teaching Hospital in half year reduced from 5,250 in 2016 to 4,263 in 2017. Deaths, however, went up slightly from 791.38 per 100,000 live births to 985.22 per 100,000 live births over the same period. Dr. Owusu-Danso blames the trend, among other factors, on patients arriving late at the hospital when they are in crisis stage.
At the period under review, we had a lower attendance comparatively in terms of pregnant women using the facility. And yet within the same period, in terms of mothers or women who died through birth-related diseases, shot up. One would have expected naturally that with the attendance or the numbers of utilization dropping, the death rate should also drop. But we had an overshoot. And for me, I think that was not a very good reflection. Of course, there are various reasons that account for this. And that is the issue that I spoke about. The Comfort has increasingly over the years become a facility of utilization as a last resort. That most people who are coming here are people who are coming in at the very terminal stages of their illnesses. And that's the reason why we have very high mortalities.
Dr. Owusu-Danso acknowledges First Lady Rebecca Kufuor and the multimedia group's effort in the construction of a new mother and baby unit. He, however, believes expedited action on the 40-year-old stalled maternity block project will offer more permanent solution.
When we have new accidents and new emergency coming in, then it actually encumbers the emergency operational area, which is not the best for us for patient care. And the reason why the mother baby unit, I keep talking about it, and that despite the intervention, which is very, very critical, that the First Lady has made for us now, as a country, we must look forward to make sure that the 40-year-old facility is completed.
Reporting for JoyNews, Kwesi Debra.
A scientist with specialty in pesticides is warning of massive resurgence of the fall armyworm unless the Food and Agriculture Ministry finds more sustainable means to remedy the situation. Dr. Henry Ofosu-Hennes's team says the pest could be chemical resistant and therefore more difficult to control. He is unhappy about failure of authorities to involve field scientists in matters of research to address challenges of plant pests and diseases.
This insect is very hardy. First of all, for its life stage, the pupa lives in the soil. And again, the adult too can fly very long distances. They can fly as far as 1,600 kilometers in 30 days. So even if the ones in Ghana are gone, they are bound to fly back. And again, the pesticides on the markets may be targeting the larva, but not eggs. So I mean, there should be a holistic way of trying to look for a control. But we have an advantage in a sense that there's a pest that has been widely studied in the Americas. And for the interim, we could go to the America, or we could adopt the way the Americans have been treating this insect. So they will never go, like any other insects on cocoa, other plants, you spray them, they will die. But then that's even more dangerous because they are going to develop resistance. Some of the insects are going to learn how to manage the poisons, and they will pass this gene onto their offspring, and these chemicals will no more be even effective. You would have to go and bring in other insects that will feed on these insects. Those are the natural enemies. Those should be the targets. instead of the pesticide that you are trying to spew on this insect. In fact, for the chemical, it is a firefighting tool. Once they are here, you have to use chemicals. But in the long term, we may have to be thinking about biological control.
Metal drums are a major packaging and storage component in the oil and lubrication industry the world over. They provide protection for fuel and other industrial chemicals. When they are emptied, they find themselves in other auxiliary uses, including distillery, as well as water and cooking oil storage. Well, they become heating apparatus for plantain roasters and barbecue makers before ending up as scrap. Fabricators at the Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology are now currently recycling metal drums into furniture. Kwesi Debra reports.
Deep in the bush in the Ofinso municipality of the Ashanti region is this local distillery. Kojo Danso is a palm wine tapper and a distiller of local gin known as Apeteshi. For 16 years, he has relied on metal drums as the main apparatus in the production line. I buy it for 150 cedis. I wash the inside and fix the tubes. Kojo tells me sometimes the barrels blast from overheating. He's been using this particular barrel for 2 years. It's almost worn out and due for replacement. There's no point selling it to the scrap dealers. They buy it for 2 cedis, so I leave it here. Drums are commonly used for disposing of hazardous or dangerous or unwanted chemicals. Drum waste disposal has become a major headache for many developing countries, especially with limited recycling installations. Users abandon them recklessly with little or no attention to environmental pollution. Akwatia Line, Kumasi, is one of the hubs for scrap metals in the Ashanti region. Scrap dealer Hudu Muhammad fabricates barbecue stoves and pans out of metal barrels. The drum is very good for fabrication, and I've been working with it for a very long time. The Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology is taking the use of waste metal drums a step further. The Department of Integrated Rural Art and Industry makes furniture out of them. Here is lecturer Dr. Kafui Kwesiajiman.
The whole idea behind the steel barrel couch is to save our forests from massive deforestation, also make production of furniture easier for furniture makers, then also save energy regarding recycling of steel materials. And we manage to do it such that it can withstand the weather. It has a closing mechanism so that in case you have used it and the day is over, you can take off the foam, then close it.
The department is still researching into other potential uses for metal drums. Reporting for JoyNews, Kwesi Debra.
Well, final year students of Nursing Training College in Wa have given government a 1-week ultimatum to include them in the payment of allowances for trainee nurses. According to them, government has started the process to allow allowances to be paid to their junior colleagues who are in the first and second years. And the students stormed the Upper West Regional Coordinating Council, demanding to know why they were being excluded from the nursing training allowance payments. Rafiq Salam has more.
The students numbering 30 from Nursing Training College were riding while tooting the horns of their motorbikes, stormed the Upper West Regional Coordinating Council. Their mission was simple: to seek audience with the Upper West Regional Minister, Alhaji Suleiman Al-Hassan, and to know why government is excluding them from the nursing trainee allowance it promised them during the electioneering campaign. According to them, government has started a process to pay allowances for their junior colleagues who are in their first and second year by asking them to submit to them before the close of the week details of their bank accounts and National Health Insurance Identification Card. They are, however, surprised that they are excluded from the exercise and has now become a laughingstock. Yaya Hibatullah speaks for the group.
Even people that just came today,
yes,
they were included, and somebody who just come and pay your admission, your allowance form. We were roaming in this school for the past 2 years. Meanwhile, our father, the president, promised us that 100 million. I am the TESCOM WUCOM of my school.
Okay.
That's NPP.
Yes.
I'm the WUCOM. So up to date, people are still asking me, what is your president doing about it? I said, my president is working on it.
Yes.
But it came to a time that I have no more answers for him. Now it is in, and we are still exempted. I don't know what to do. We are just confused. We want to hear from him and let it reach him that we are not just happy.
Upper West Regional Minister Alhaji Suleiman Al-Hassan, in his response, told the students that they will never renege on their campaign promise and will do everything possible to ensure that they deliver.
NTC were also in my house. They came to their house, and fortunately for them, I called Accra in their presence, and they said they were working on your issue and that they will soon hear. If you want, you can call your colleagues and find out from Jirapa that they were working on yours and that you soon hear from them. But your coming is good. It will also push me to find out again what is happening so that they can quicken the pace for you. You can also enjoy your bit before you leave the system. So we promise that we will not rest, we will not sleep with it. We'll do our best so that you will get your share of the thing before you leave.
The nursing students agreed with the regional minister, but warned that they will hit the streets if their demand is not met after a week.
We were the very people that they made that promise to, that if we vote them into powers, definitely we'll get them. So we are looking up onto them. We brought about the change. So if we do not get any positive response, in fact, we will hit the streets of this nation and demonstrate against it.
Reporting for JoyNews, Rafiq Salam.
In other news, the Ghana Health Service says there has been an improvement in the use of contraceptives, but will still want to encourage more Ghanaians to subscribe to the use of family planning methods. The Deputy Director General of the Ghana Health Service, Dr. Gloria Kwansa-Sari, says the move will not only help prevent unwanted pregnancies, but also enhance the nation's development. She was speaking at an event to mark World Contraceptive Day. JoyNews Na Anyoko Ejay has more.
World Contraceptive Day is celebrated each year to create awareness to enable young people make informed choices about their sexual reproductive health. Here in Ghana, the target is to get most of the adult population to use contraceptives by 2020. But to achieve this, Deputy Director of the Ghana Health Service, Dr. Gloria Kwansa-Sari, says family planning must be made more attractive.
These celebrations are therefore important as we strive to achieve our national target of 50% for contraceptive prevalence by the year 2020. According to the 2014 Ghana Demographic and Health Survey, the use of modern contraceptive methods among married women is 22%. Since women in our country stand a better chance of changing their status and well-being through improved access to reproductive health services, including family planning, we should persist in our efforts to dispel all myths and misconceptions to make family planning desirable to all, including men.
Although a Ghana Health Service survey shows the country is making progress, the United Nations Population Fund, UNFPA, says concrete measures should be taken to address some challenges bedeviling the adoption of family planning.
Ghana has committed to increasing our modern CPR, our contraceptive prevalence rate, to 30% amongst married and 40% amongst unmarried sexually active women by 2020. I am happy to note that the Ghana Health Service is already reporting CPR of 33% at key meetings, including the recently held Health Summit.
Launched in 2007, This year's World Contraceptive Day was celebrated on the theme, Family Planning, Know Your Body, Know Your Partner, Know Your Option.
Members of the National Development Planning Commission have resigned after developing a 40-year development plan aiming to guide the management of resources for a holistic development of the country. The Professor Kwesi Botwe-led commission developed the document expected to guide successive governments in their planning and execution of set goals. At a short ceremony at the Flagstaff House, a draft document highlighting key points of the document was presented to the President, Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo.
Without preempting the contents of the plan, I should state some of my own aspirations.
Finally, Mr. President, a special transport infrastructure framework. We intend to have frameworks covering about 8 other sectors, including sanitation and energy and all that. We haven't quite had the time to do all 8 of them. And finally, this is work in progress, Mr. President. We can't deign to suggest that we've written everything. We have put the plan documents in as close to completion as possible. But we recognize that it may require further review, further work, and we are happy as a group to help in any way we can to bring to complete such a review if necessary. And now, our work having been done, Mr. President, this was the most important part of our mission. We, as a commission, chaired by me, Mr. President, would like to collectively, Mr. President, stand down, bring our tenure as a commission to a close. Not so much because any law or statute or constitution requires us to, but in order to give you, Mr. President, the opportunity to recompose, recast the commission in accordance with their own vision and priorities, as well, Mr. President, as the supreme interest of our country.
But apparently, government has its own 7-point strategy to develop the country. The document detailing it will be presented to Parliament for consideration after approval from Cabinet. President Akufo-Addo nonetheless said his government will study the content of the 40-year development plan for implementation.
Without preempting the contents of the plan, I should state some of my own aspirations. Firstly, that we will have a strong, buoyant economy that will provide decent jobs for all. And that our school leavers, from secondary and university, will not spend an inordinate amount of time as they do now to get a job or create one for themselves and for others. Secondly, that being a Ghanaian will be associated with tangible benefits, such as free basic education, a good health care system, the rule of law, and security in the country. Thirdly, that reciprocally, citizens will exude levels of discipline and professionalism that engender efficiency in the management of our institutions and the development of our society. Fourthly, that our infrastructure effectively supports our development, with the range of options in road, rail, air, and water forming a complex network across the entire country. Fifthly, that we will be mindful of our planet, the Earth, and as global citizens, ensure that we act in a manner to guarantee its health and survival. Sixthly, that our institutions, public and private, function as expected and consciously work to the satisfaction of citizens. And seventh, that Ghana is fully engaged in efforts towards regional and continental integration. I can fully appreciate that achieving all these will take a lot of planning and efficiency in orchestrating actions and programs, and also a reasonable length of time to conclude the path that we charter. We must figure out together with all the major stakeholders how we can achieve this. And I'm reassured that these aspirations meet substantially those of the plan you are submitting, that we all agree that we must build a Ghana beyond aid.
And that's it for the latest news tidbits, but we have a lot more news. So we'll be looking at what the stories are on the front and back pages, and I'll be joined by Benis Abubeidu, and we'll look at some of the stories also on the various news portals.